So I woke up to some very unwelcome news, and I think it may have dropped yesterday, last night, something like that. But one of the games I've been looking forward to for a long time, a game that I think will give us a clue just how far the industry has slid in one direction or the other, but also something that's iconic from a brand that's iconic. And it could also tell us the direction that these mainstream studios are actually going once they've been purchased by larger and larger entities. That direction isn't good. And this is some bad, bad news. If you've seen the thumbnail, you know. GTA 6 is reportedly facing major delay, or maybe worse. But GTA 6 is one of those games. It's one of those games I have been looking forward to. I love GTA. I can't tell you how many times I go back to playing GTA 5. I do it regularly. I at least once a year I go back and play the game, and I love it, beginning to end. All the side missions and everything are stellar, fantastic, and fun. And what's happening is the game seems to be falling behind, at least according to the story here from Gamerant. And some Rockstar executives are said to be concerned that the game could slip into 2026. So they began to fall behind, according to a new report. And senior Rockstar officials, consequently, are said to be worried that it's going to miss its release window. So they have a backup plan in place. So following a year's worth of rumors and a massive leak in 2022, which I thought was cool, GTA 6 was finally announced in December of 2023, just a few months ago. Its reveal trailer stated the game is targeting a 2025 release date. I thought it was Q2 of 2025, but it may be sliding into Q3 or more, and we'll get to those stories here in a second. But there's a lot of things that come along with this game, and frankly, a debate about whether or not you're going to get 60 frames per second seems to be less important than the game actually coming out on time and in good shape. So it could slip into that 2026 window. And they think that that is like a worst case scenario. I guess one of the first to the party here was Kotaku, probably before they got relegated to game guides and hit pieces. But the state of affairs has been characterized as one of the inciting factors behind Rockstar's purported decision to mandate its employees to return to the office starting in April. Wow. I think most people have been back to the office for a while. I guess there are some that are still able to work from home, but you have to have a pretty decent machine and dev kit to, make this happen at a home office. So, but anyway, so that happened all the way back in February, that they let everybody know that that was going to be the deal. And specifically, the higher-ups are said to be concerned with the company's ability to wrap up the final stages of GTA 6 development without letting the game slip into 2026, should everybody keep working remotely. Now, I've had some recent interactions with some game devs, by their own admission, that aren't terribly woke, but are terribly concerned about games. And I think one of the things that they take offense with is my problem with this idea of crunch. And I think they think I'm belittling people when I say that sometimes in a professional capacity, and in many of the professions that I've had throughout my lifetime, including the businesses that I've owned, I've had to work at times 18 hours a day, 7 days a week for months on end. That's something that happens. I have experienced sleeping underneath my desk 4 days at a time, way back when we were dealing with Y2K and some other things. So way back in my career and over the course of my many careers, including building out, physical entertainment spaces, I've slept at the job site. I've had to. It's the nature of doing something great and doing it on time and within a budget, because otherwise it just won't happen at all. It shouldn't be that way in video games, and this game has been in development for a long time from a major publisher with just a ton more people than they had when they developed the first few games. that's the other problem with gaming, is that you end up with a bunch of people involved in a game, and it's just there's too many people not contributing to the right things, and there are elements of game development that are just overrun with unnecessary management, and this is coming from people that I know that work in the business. So set that all aside. If you set up a schedule and there are deadlines and milestones along the way to get you from point A to point V, you should never have this kind of situation. You shouldn't be dealing with this. This is something that, frankly, just means something along the way got mismanaged, or there was a fundamental problem with something in the process, whether it be an engine or some other catastrophic mistake that was made at the very beginning or somewhere near the beginning of the project. So, despite the concerns about the project, it is said to have avoided delays since the announcement, at least they say so. So the new report narrows down the previous stated GTA 6 release window to spring of 2025, which is what I'd been hearing. So describing that Rockstar's current internal target is the same, which is good. That notwithstanding, according to a terrible game rag, politically driven ideological game rag, they claimed that sources involved with the development believe fall 2025 to be more realistic scenario, even though that's currently only said to be the company's fallback plan. Actually, if it goes into 2026, that's their fallback plan. So they're going on to excuse this over at GameRat, saying every 3D entry in the iconic franchise has suffered at least one major delay, so the notion of GTA 6 continuing that pattern sounds well within the realm of possibility. Well, we can only hope not. Should the game truly end up slipping into 2026, that would also hinder its chances of a PC port hitting the market before 2027. Could you imagine that? Game set to release in 2025 won't get ported to PC till 2027. 18 months to 2 years afterwards. Why? So more outlets are reporting this story, and this one I saw just this morning. This is Vicky Blake over at Eurogamer, and says GTA 6 may slip to 2026 as development reportedly fallen behind. So see, this is what I'd been hearing. The latest it would fall to Q3, but we'll see. So yada yada yada. So delaying the game until 2026 is a fallback plan or emergency option. Again, it's not something we want to hear. And they told people back in February they were going to have to come back to work. I don't know what people's problem is going back to work, going back to the office where you're going to get more done under a easier cycle. They're calling the leadership's decision reckless. In what way? To what account is it reckless to have people return to the office where they're supposed to be in the first place? Where there was only an exception that was certainly going to be for a limited time, granted under some odd circumstances. And frankly, if you've been listening to a lot of reporting around this, maybe that was not exactly the best move in the first place. So, employees at Rockstar were told to return to the office 5 days a week. Studio management cited security and productivity. And this is the thing that I think is tantamount. Productivity. People that are self-disciplined, self-starters, self-motivated, hardworking folks, they're not going to have a problem. But that's not every employee. And if you're going to take offense to this because you always are working hard, you work your hours, you spend time, getting your job done, I'm sorry, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the people who need somebody else prodding them along so things get done in time. So you can avoid things like crunch. Crunch can be avoided if you get your job done in time, on time. Anyway, so since this announcement, the Independent Workers Union of Great Britain has blasted Rockstar for its plans to withdraw remote working provisions for the majority of its staff, noting that The studio said any exceptions to the new rules will be rare. They were the old rules. You had a small exception for a period of time for an extraordinary situation. This is annoying. We'll keep going. More Rockstar games and stuff. Yeah, staff speak out. I guess there's more people talking about it. Additional Rockstar employees have spoken out about the current temperature inside the company as it wriggles with GTA 6's final year of development. And over the past week, we've covered several stories coming from within Rockstar about how the mood has soured and progress is stalling. Well, the mood soured because you guys don't want to go back to work. The final stages of the most anticipated game of all time are underway, and they are seeking perfection, but at what cost? All right, this will be fun. It all began in February, as I said before. They have to be back 5 days a week starting in April. You know what? You had a whole month to complain about this and prepare for the fact that you were going to have to go back to the office. In a company-wide email, head of publishing Jen Colby, that's how I'm assuming that her name is said, stated there were security concerns and reduction in productivity. Duh. Employees are not thrilled. This comes to us from the great damp cloth Jason Schreier. So it says many developers will not live close to Rockstar Studios and will now be forced to commute at length each day. Get a different job. Since then, the disgruntled team members have spilled some of the feelings that they've had. Bloomberg had a report, and I just read that to you. Reckless decision making. Yeah. Here we go. Rockstar is snatching away that lifeline without a second thought. What lifeline? For workers who will be impacted most. After so many broken promises, we now fear management may even be paving the way to return to toxic crunch practices. I am going to need to talk to some people. I really want to get on board with the fact that you're being abused. But if you're being asked to step up to the plate for a period of time, even if it's somewhat lengthy, because things, in order to meet deadlines and goals, fell by the wayside because lots of people were having extra nap times and sandwiches going into, their home office every day. I mean, this is frustrating for me. So senior leadership need to rethink their reckless decision-making and engage with their staff to find a new arrangement that works for everyone. No. When you're hired to do a job, there are certain things that come with that job. There just are. Believe me, I know. We also learned from Rockstar insider Tez 2 that a return to office had been in place informally for a little while already. Plus, management had become more strict over the past year. This caused some developers to quit Rockstar Games. Well, there you go. Gaming news outlet Aftermath, which I've now started paying attention to, by the way, have also put out a report after speaking with Rockstar employees. According to the site, 2 Rockstar Games staffers came forward to share information about what is happening within the studio's walls. And one source admits the security reason given to return to office is easier to take in good faith. Well, of course, you already had some massive leaks come out about this game, to the point where people were watching gameplay and other people were seeing some story narrative elements that they weren't too thrilled about. And we already know that Take-Two Interactive and these other knuckleheads are working with the likes of, Kim Belair and anybody that's similar to her, and all the sycophants within those types of groups. Nobody's going to be excited for this game if they think it's going to be full of the garbage that we've been trying to escape from in the first place. Anyway, Another say, we've heard some of the devs receiving reprimands for sharing their thoughts on the plan to work at the office full time. You used to work at the office full time before. If you were getting your work done from home, you wouldn't be asked to come back in. If the game wasn't being leaked, you wouldn't be asked to be coming back in. How is that so hard to understand? So some information has been passed around, and plans include to reduce the access developers have outside of the physical offices. Well, that solves your problem, because you will be forced to go into work because you will no longer have remote access to tools that you need to do your job. So a source speaking to Aftermath claimed they'll no longer be able to communicate or remote access Rockstar's systems when at their home. That solves the entire problem. That's a way to force compliance to come in and get this thing done. So some believe that this change will backfire and actually reduce productivity rather than improve it, like Rockstar management believe. Maybe for some. Or maybe they'll reach out to a lot of developers that have recently lost their jobs, unfortunately, and fix this problem once and for all. There's a feeling more team members could have health impacts. Now, I'm not happy about that part of it, because I know a lot of people get put under a lot of stress and pressure. A lot of people don't have particularly good health, in this industry. There's reasons for that I'm not going to get into right now, because I'll get yelled at by some people in the audience. But you'll also have, people resign from the company over this. And like I said, it's just going to happen. Those working on the project say this is a reason why they don't need to be in the studio's real location, because apparently PS5 and Xbox Series XS versions have been developed almost entirely remotely. That doesn't mean it's the most effective way to develop things. Some of these things are not arguments. Yes, you can do work remotely. I know. I've been doing it. And you can do it pretty well. Sure. It's a little slower. Yes. But you also, at the same time, don't have a lot of integration that comes with working in your office. And look, this is true. Losing key people in teams would be very, very bad. But I imagine you'll be able to get some of the highest tier game developers that were fired recently from other studios up to speed rather quickly, and maybe not complain about having a job at all. So frustrating. Of course, another one coming out of Complex. So everybody here is reporting the worst, that we're going to possibly see this game slide into 2026. If it does, huge bummer. I just hope I'm still around to play the game. I have been on the planet long enough to be able to get to 6, at least. I hope so, anyway. I'm going to knock on some wood when I'm done recording this video. But you have to be able to do your job in a timely manner. If I am contracted to do something and I don't do it in a timely manner, I don't get to keep the contract. I don't get to make the money. It's the same thing. It's a job. It's a job. But worse yet, it's the people that are buying the game that are going to suffer. And if this game suffers from the politics that it's rumored it could, and it seems like it may, if it does suffer from that and the modernity that's being inserted into, you're going to have multiple reasons for gamers not to buy this. They might pick it up on a sale at some point. But you think nobody trusts game studios anymore. Nobody's going to pre-purchase this game. So you're just hurting it further. And you're hurting your opportunity to stay employed further if you don't deliver this game in what the gamers think is on time. We waited for Cyberpunk 2077. Is that right? Yeah. We waited for Cyberpunk to come out. We got a broken game. It was absolutely just broken. I was super bummed. And I had one of the systems that could handle it. So even when I did get a glitch, it was fine. But there are a lot of people that it's not fine for them. It just isn't. Anyway, I'm curious. I've been ranting long enough. This I hope doesn't happen. I hope this game comes out on time. I hope we get it Q2. of 2025. And I really hope it doesn't slip to 2026 because that would be a tragedy. Not just for Rockstar and Take-Two and everybody else. It'd be a tragedy for gamers because they may not buy it. Especially since the closer we get to the release date, the more will come out about the narrative design. And if it's modern garbage, it's not going to do well. On that note, let me know what you think down in the comments section below. Please don't forget to hit the like button on the way out. And if you're not subscribed, please turn the little red subscribe button to gray because, hey, I'm almost to 25K. On that note, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others. And until next time, see ya.